Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that really bothers me so much in this industry and this community is the fact that people are in complete denial of basic human physiology. People are in denial of this, and you see people who teach this, and they teach people training methods, oftentimes genetically gifted guys who are on copious amounts of anabolics, who have every advantage possible, who have obtained physiques that a lot of young men see they want to emulate. They want their physique. And you know what? I'm not going to knock that. I can understand that. If you really are feeling that your self-confidence and your self-worth is going to be boosted by a nicer body, why wouldn't you look at those guys and say, okay, I mean, if I had what they had, that would be good. And clearly they know how to get that. They know how to get that. And the problem is that maybe they don't, because they don't know how to pick their genetics, and most of them aren't telling you their drug protocol. So what they're telling you of how they got it may not be what's going to get you there, and what they have may be unobtainable for you. But the biggest problem with it is that people are sitting here teaching the worst floof and nonsense to people who are drug-free. And the thing is that this needs to be an understood statement. It is impossible for a drug-free lifter to get big without getting brutally strong. I will say that again and again and again if need be. But one more time. It is impossible, barring a handful of genetic freaks, for a natural, a drug-free lifter to get big without also getting brutally strong. And I'm not saying that purely because of powerlifting background. I'm saying that based upon reality and observation that every coach in the world has noted for decades. It's understood. It's observable phenomenon. And if people don't believe that size and strength matter, why do they think they have weight classes in things like powerlifting? Because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't need weight classes. The 150-pound guys would compete with the 300-pound guys, and the stronger guy would just win, right? Well, it doesn't work that way. Do you guys think it's by accident that weight classes exist, that records, whether they're state, national, world level, are set based upon weight class in every single strength sport, every strength sport? Why do you think that is? Because the stronger guys are usually bigger. They're bigger. And frame also matters in that also, meaning your maximum size you might be able to reach with any threshold of muscle. You're going to be at a lower body weight if you're shorter. You're going to have more body weight if you're bigger. Your frame can hold more. So really weight classes are there to some extent to even help the shorter guys out. But ultimately, the bigger guys are stronger and move more weight, because size and strength correlate, again, barring some genetic freaks and barring drugs. Those are your two factors that can change those ratios around. But what people need to understand, the stronger you get, the bigger you will get. And people teach way too much floof, because you know how you make a muscle grow, and it's irrespective of how many studies you want to look at and analyze metabolites and whatever else. A muscle grows fastest when you train it with a heavy weight for a lot of reps and a long range of motion. So when I say getting stronger, that being brutally strong, I'm not talking about a guy who comes in and benches 405 with an enormous arch, who has T-Rex arms, who moves the bar 4 inches on a lockout and then racks it with a bunch of wraps and stuff on or whatever else. I am talking about workload. It is workload that makes muscles bigger. Workload. And big, heavy compound movements, big barbell movements, usually recruit the most muscles in the body. So big barbell movements done correctly have the capacity to make muscles lift a heavy weight for a lot of reps for a long range of motion. Notice I didn't even say full range of motion, but a longer range of motion usually has more potential for growth than a shorter range of motion. It doesn't guarantee it, but it has the potential for it. Well, that's incidentally how you get brutally strong. You get brutally strong by doing big barbell movements that use a lot of muscles in the body, working them through a full or close to a full range of motion, and adding weight and adding reps and adding weight and adding reps over and over and over. The process for getting big and getting strong for a drug-free lifter are the same process. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't do some isolation work and even some higher rep isolation work if that is something they feel they need. All right, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And in many cases, it will even benefit a given muscle group. I don't want that to be misconstrued. You know what? If your biceps are lagging, doing some concentration curls or incline curls with high reps might not be a bad idea if you want to bring them up. If you feel they're lagging behind from your big movements and you want to do that, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. In fact, that's actually a good idea. But they're talking about usually individual lagging muscles. The hardest way to get big overall is to do tons and tons of isolation movement. You're going to waste a lot of hours in the gym. You're going to waste a lot of time, and you're going to end up with way more lagging muscle groups if you're focused on isolation work than if you're focused on big compound movements and your performance and getting stronger on those lifts. And again, I want to stay getting stronger, not moving more weight. There is a difference. Yes, as you get stronger, you will move more weight. But I mean by actually using the muscles, not changing your leverages or shortening the range of motion or cheating or any of that. Because more weight, when applied with good technique, always increases tension on the muscle. Every rep you do with that you have added weight on, you are forced to do more work. And with any given weight, every rep that you do with the same weight is more work. Work done. Muscles adapt to work. They adapt to work. And if you guys don't believe me, I know people are always like, well, this study and that study on the quadriceps showed these really, really high reps on this isolation movement in the quads with lightweight produce just as much muscle growth as the heavier weight. Yeah, that's true. It did in a short period of time on an isolation movement. But I will ask you a question. If anyone who honestly thinks that will compare, someone go design a study where we actually train people legitimately for a year and compare them to people who you put on a floof program like that, and you tell me which one you think is going to get bigger faster. People who come in and do a bunch of 15 and 20 rep sets to failure, isolating every muscle in the body. I mean, leg extensions, leg curls, the pec deck, concentration curls, tricep push downs, one arm lat pull downs, and have them squeeze and contract and focus on the burn and do these high reps. You take 20 people and you have them do that, and you have 20 people come in and follow a basic linear progression 5x5 where they do the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, the standing press, and the barbell row. Have them do those 5 basic movements. Nothing else. For a 5x5 with linear progression, and compare it to that other floof model. Does anyone honestly believe that at the end of the year that the floof training program is going to produce better results, that they're going to be bigger, or they're even going to be the same size? There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell it's even remotely imaginable, unless you gave them a bunch of steroids, that that group is going to be the same size as the people who did those 5 basic movements. And yet all of these guys would have their followers and stuff believe that their key to their amazing arm development is the fact that they squeeze and hold the bicep at the top with their cable concentration curl. Not their chin-ups, not their rows, assuming they're even natural. That they got their chest by squeezing at the top with some dumbbells, instead of doing heavy dips and heavy bench press for a lot of reps and a lot of volume with a lot of weight. Anyone really believe that? But that's the problem. That's what's being sold to people, that the little fluff movements are actually going to put more size on you than getting strong. And that might be true when people are on grams and grams of gear, but when you take a bunch of genetically average, drug-free lifters, the stronger they get, the bigger they will get across the board. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.